It was just past midnight when the rain started tapping softly on the bedroom window. The old house creaked now and then, as it always did when the weather shifted suddenly, and I had pulled the blanket tighter around myself without even realizing it. The day had been long, filled with the usual chaos that comes with raising a teenager. I had just gotten off a late video call for work, folded the last of the laundry, and checked in on my 15-year-old son, Caleb, before retreating to my room to sleep. At least, that was the plan. Somewhere in the middle of a dream I can't fully recall now, I felt a presence in the room. It wasn't loud, nothing sharp or jarring, but enough to pull me gently out of sleep. The kind of feeling you get when someone's watching you, or when the air in the room shifts and you just know you're not alone. I opened my eyes, disoriented at first, and then I saw him, Caleb, standing quietly at the foot of my bed. He wasn't saying anything, and for a moment, I was caught between concern and confusion. "Caleb," I asked, my voice groggy. "Is everything okay?" He hesitated. I could barely make out his face in the dim light from the hallway. The door had been left slightly ajar, letting in a slice of the hallway light that created long shadows across the room. He looked like he wasn't sure whether to speak or turn around and leave. I had a bad dream," he said quietly. I sat up slowly, rubbing the sleep from my eyes. It wasn't unusual. Caleb had always been sensitive to storms, ever since he was little. Even now, at 15, the sound of thunder seemed to shake him deeper than most kids his age. He was tall now, his voice deeper, but in that moment, he looked so much like the little boy I used to hold when he couldn't sleep. "Do you want to talk about it?" I asked, patting the edge of the bed. He hesitated again, then walked over and sat down next to me. He didn't speak right away. Instead, he stared at his hands, clasped tightly in his lap. I waited patiently, knowing better than to rush him. Caleb had always opened up on his own time. I'd learned that with every year, he grew older. He was thoughtful and quiet, but also intense in ways I didn't always understand. Still, I tried my best to keep our communication open. "It felt real," he finally said. "Like I was in it, like it wasn't a dream at all. You weren't home. I was alone. And something was outside, trying to get in." He glanced up at me then, and his eyes were wide with something I couldn't name. Not just fear, something else. A kind of dread that clung to him even now. Fully awake. "I woke up and couldn't tell if I was still dreaming," he added. I reached over and gently touched his arm. "You're safe. I'm right here. Nothing's getting in, okay?" He nodded slowly, but didn't look entirely convinced. Sometimes, with teenagers, reassurance is more symbolic than effective. I could still remember what it felt like to have nightmares that haunted you past morning. "Do you want to stay in here for a little while?" I asked. He didn't answer, but the way he sat still, not making a move to leave, was answer enough. I pulled the blanket over both of us and leaned back against the headboard. We stayed quiet for a few minutes, listening to the rain patter against the windows. The storm had picked up a little, and the occasional low rumble of thunder echoed in the distance. After a while, he began to talk, not about the dream anymore, but about school, his friends, and little things that had been bothering him. I listened, occasionally nodding or offering short responses. He was opening up more than he had in weeks. I realized then that this moment wasn't really about a dream. It was about needing to feel connected, needing to be reminded that he wasn't alone, even when his mind told him otherwise. It's hard sometimes, raising a teenager on your own. Since Caleb's dad passed away 3 years ago, everything had fallen on me. I'd done my best, tried to keep things stable, but grief doesn't operate on a schedule, and neither does adolescence. There were days when Caleb was angry for reasons he couldn't explain, days when he shut me out completely, and other days when I caught glimpses of the boy he used to be. Tonight was one of those rare moments when the walls came down. Eventually, he yawned, his eyes growing heavy. I let him drift off beside me, just like he had when he was 6 and scared of the dark. As I lay there watching him sleep, I thought about how fast the years had gone by. He'd be driving soon, then college, then maybe he'd move away. But tonight, he was still here. Still my son, still in need of comfort, no matter how tall he got or how deep his voice became. Around 3 in the morning, I must have fallen asleep, too. When I woke up again, the sky outside was just starting to lighten. Caleb was still asleep beside me, breathing evenly. I gently got out of bed, careful not to wake him, and walked to the kitchen to start some coffee. The rain had stopped, and everything outside looked clean and washed anew. I stood at the window with my mug in hand, thinking about how life moved in small, quiet moments like these. Not the loud milestones or planned vacations, but the unspoken things. The dream that brought Caleb into my room. The late-night conversation. The silence we shared afterward. When he finally woke up a little after 7, he walked into the kitchen rubbing his eyes. "Morning," I said, sliding a plate of toast toward him. "Thanks," he mumbled, still waking up. "Feeling better?" He nodded.
Yeah.
"I think I just needed to not be alone." I smiled. "That's what I'm here for." The rest of the day passed like most others. He went to school. I worked, but something was different, subtle, but real. He texted me at lunch just to say hey. When he came home, he asked if I wanted to watch a movie later. And before bed, he told me goodnight without me having to say it first. Days turned into weeks. The storm became a memory, and the dream faded for him. But I didn't forget. That night reminded me of the importance of simply being there, even if you don't always have the right words. Teenagers are tough. They don't always know how to ask for what they need. But when they do, when they let you in, you realize just how much those moments matter. A few months later, we had another late-night chat. He didn't come in because of a nightmare this time, just knocked on the door and sat down beside me. He wanted to talk about his dad. It was the first time in a long while that he brought it up on his own. "I still miss him," he said. "It doesn't go away." "I know," I replied softly. "I miss him too." We talked for a while, shared some memories, even laughed a little. It felt good, like healing in progress. And when he left the room, I realized something. Being a parent isn't just about rules and responsibilities. It's about presence, about showing up, even in the middle of the night, about being the safe place your child can go when the world feels too heavy. Sometimes, all it takes is being there when they walk in the room unexpectedly. And sometimes, those are the moments that change everything.